Sorry if I sound disgusting. I'm just getting over a cold, so yeah. Sorry. Oh, also spoilers. So if you don't want to know anything about the movie, then just pause the video, get in your car, go to the movie theater, go see the movie, come back, play the video, and you'll be all good. So I didn't hate Eternals, but it definitely isn't great. Here's the thing. It tries to do something different. And, I salute it for doing that. But, some of it works. Some of it doesn't work. Fuck, this is going to be so hard to explain. This is kind of a hard movie to review. Because on one hand, it's really ambitious. And I can appreciate that. But on the other hand, it's just not all together. You know what? Let's just get into it. Let me get into it. Eternals review. Let's go. Chloe Zhao is a good director. Let's start with that. She knows what she is doing. And she's a goddamn Oscar winner. So, she's got to know what she's doing. So when I say that I really like the direction and how much this movie looks, I don't think that should come as a surprise. This movie looks epic. It's really ambitious, it's really different, and I really appreciate that Marvel was trying to do something different. Problem is that it's hard to introduce characters who have supposedly been in this universe since the beginning and then tell their whole story. The movie tries to tell us the whole story of the Eternals, from the beginning of the universe all the way to the present, and you just can't do that, especially when you're trying to introduce 10 new characters as well. To put it in layman terms, the movie just has too much going on. It's nearly impossible to introduce 10 main characters at once and have the audience care about every single one of them. The movie just expects you to be emotionally invested in these characters, but we don't get enough time to actually care about the characters. So when one of them dies, I don't feel anything. The audience doesn't feel anything. And it's all because we don't really know these characters as much. For example, I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter talking about how cool the character Makari is, but she's barely has a character. I mean, she was barely in the movie and the audience gets to learn nothing about her other than she likes Druig, I guess. That's her personality. I mean, don't get me wrong. The scene where she beats the crap out of Icarus was just insanely cool. But we know nothing about her. And you know what's hilarious is that I actually had to look up her name because I literally only know the names of half of the Eternals. The movie is 2.5 hours long and it really only focuses on 3 of the 10 Eternals in the movie, which is a shame because I think characters like Thena, Phastos, and Kingo were really cool and could have potentially been the best characters in the movie. But none of them have any personality, except maybe Kingo, who is the best character. But like I said, he's barely in the movie because they only focus on Icarus, Cersei, and Sprite. Okay, I'm going to talk about Sprite for a second. I think that Sprite didn't have to be in the movie, really. She didn't have to be in it at all. She was really annoying, and I think that I'm not alone here in thinking that she was kind of just in the way. That's what her character felt. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone, but I didn't like Sprite that much. She's kind of annoying. Honestly, if I were making this movie, I would have started it by killing 3 or 4 of the Eternals off and then having them split up afterwards. That way, you're not juggling 10 characters at once and we get more time to know the Eternals and we get to actually get some personality from them. I probably think that this movie being 2.5 hours long, that it is that length because they're supposed to focus on all these characters, but in reality it only focuses on 3 of them, and some of the cool ones who don't get enough screen time, we don't get to know them. I want to know more about them, but we don't get to know them, and that's why this movie just seems really weird. Okay, so this is the last bad thing I'm going to talk about, and it's the villains. And yes, I did say villains, plural. Spoilies here, so if you want to pause this and go see the movie first, then go do that right now. Okay, so the deviant leader is super lame, and if you cut him from the movie altogether, nothing would have changed. I would definitely keep Icarus as the villain because I think that's actually pretty interesting. Literally, all you would have to do is write it so that the Eternals find out that the emergence is beginning, then have them find out that Icarus is the one trying to make it happen, and then they have to stop him and the emergence. Also, the twist that happens where you see that Icarus is actually the villain, I wouldn't have done that. I would have just made Icarus the villain in the beginning and then have them try to stop him. You know, that's the plot of the movie, but the plot of the movie is so fucking messy where it's like, oh, the Deviants are the villain. No, Icarus is the villain. No, oh, wait, no, it's the Deviants. Now they're fighting both of them. Oh my god, the emergence is happening. It's just so much packed into one movie. It can't be done. Okay, so let's get into the stuff I actually liked. The effects all look good, I guess. The cinematography is pretty good. Everything looks like it's a Chloe Zhao movie. And I really appreciate that Marvel let her do her thing. But I think the best thing is the soundtrack. Like, I really liked the score. Thought the score was a good mixture between like rock and synth, which, if you don't know me, I like synth in my movie scores. Like fucking Thor Ragnarok, amazing score. I love that score. I think all the performances were pretty fine, you know? Gemma Chan is the most attractive woman on the planet. I mean, she was good. Everyone was fine. Yeah. I think when you take a good look at Eternals, you can see that somewhere there is a good movie here. But that good movie that everyone wants to see, it's just being bogged down by exposition and terrible handling of the characters. There are too many characters to focus on, and we don't get enough time to actually care about them and get emotionally invested. Let's talk about Guardians of the Galaxy, for example. Guardians has 5 main characters, and James Gunn knows how to handle a lot of characters, and 5 is a low number so that we get to spend time with them, and then by the end, we're emotionally invested in their stories. In Eternals, however, we don't get that time. We only focus on 3 characters. The other 7 are barely there for us. We don't get emotionally invested in all of them. Therefore, we don't get to actually care about all these characters. Oh, I didn't even talk about the post-credits scene, which was hilariously stupid casting. Spoily right here, so if, you know, again, another spoily. But Harry Styles is playing Eros or whatever, otherwise known as Thanos' brother, and literally everyone in my theater laughed, and I sat there like, this is terrible. But serious, this is really terrible. Why would they do this casting? It's really, really bad. I don't get it. Anyways, I'm not going to talk about that too much. I'm just going to skip to the score, and I'm going to give Marvel's Eternals a 5.5 out of 10. So is Eternals worthless? No, I don't. Definitely not. It's definitely not worthless. Is it a masterpiece? No, it's not. Is it the worst Marvel movie? Also, probably no. The Thor: The Dark World is probably still the worst Marvel movie. Is it one of the great Marvel movies? No. It's like, it's in the middle. It's like behind the middle of the pack, you know? It's like, it's mid. It's mid. That's the best way you could explain it, is that it's mid. Which is a shame, because it had so much potential with Chloe Zhao directing a fucking Marvel movie. That's just so cool to me. And it does a lot of new cool stuff that I really appreciate. It looks cool, it tries to do new things, and I appreciate it for doing that. It just doesn't work all the time. So yeah, this was the review for Eternals. Yeah, if you liked it, then hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the YouTube stuff. And if you know Gemma Chan, give her my number. Could you give her my number? And tell her I'm single. Tell her I'm available. Just let her know. Okay? Anyways, okay. Bye.